Bradley Dack is on the score sheet for the very first time. We'll talk about that and more next. Or Blackburn Rovers throw it away at the death as, of course, Coventry City pull it back to salvage a point themselves and put Rovers playoff hopes in the shitter. We'll talk about that and more next. Folks, back once again with another match review, looking back at Blackburn Rovers' latest match. Of course, the draw at Coventry City, and we'll get to that in just a second. You know where you've been. Smash your subscribe to get you back to all things Rovers related, Championship related, staying in the league related. That's right, but of course, Blackburn Rovers, yes, we have, of course, come out of this just with a point, and of course, it could have been worse, it could have been better, but of course, at the end of the day, we got a point on the road, and we scored 2 goals. First time, of course, we've done that in a long, long time. We'll take the positives from it, and of course, we'll build from that, and of course, talk all about it in a minute. Of course, big shout out to my VIPs. They're the patrons, guys. Thank you for your love, and of course, behind the scenes. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, what are we talking about? We're talking about this 2-2 draw it was at the Rico. Goodness gracious me. And it was like a derby, a game of 2 halves. Goodness gracious me. Right, 2-2 in the end. 1-0 down at half-time. Of course, Harry Pickering put the ball in his own net. And of course, that's just the tail of just a small sample of the shit show that was the first half. We could have been 3 or 4-0 down, to be honest with you, as Coventry City were electric in the first half, and Rovers were absolutely dog shit in the first half. And we were lucky, very, very lucky at the end, I think, to get a point. Yes, of course, we were very much on our way to 3 points. And a massive 3 points it would have been if we could hold on. But unfortunately, Coventry do what Coventry have done this season, that is score a lot of late goals, and they did just the same here and now. Of course, so 2-2 in the end, but of course the story for me was Bradley Dackarino's first goal of the campaign within about 40 seconds of coming on as a substitute. First touch of the game, it was a header into the back of the net. We were straight back in it 1-1, but of course we fought. We were actually close to taking the lead further, as of course we tried to put on the chances, put on the pressure to Coventry City, and we looked very, very much a different beast in the second half. Of course, our hard work was returned with an 82-minute bullet header from Scott Wharton. Of course, that's his second in a couple of games now. 2 and 3, I think, for him. Bullet header. Wharton is, of course, a major part of next season. He is not a chicken. He's not a little spring chicken. He is, of course, 24 years of age, or getting to be 24. So he, of course, is getting into that sort of time of his life that he should be a mainstay. And I think he's been absolutely criminally good. Very, very good for us. One of the standouts for me this season, of course, when we talk about bread and butter players that will be here next season. Van Heck's not going to be here. Cadger's not going to be here. But, of course, Scotty W will be here, and he'll be massive, depending on what goes on with Darragh Lenihan. He could be the key central figure in a back 4, back 3, whatever you want to call it, next season. But anyway, take a look at the numbers here. Of course, Kayokes did nick it in the very, very last minute of stoppage time. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, of course, here's the tail of the tape. Of course, 52% possession for Coventry, 48% for Rovers, 11 shots apiece. Of course, they had 4 off target. We had 3 off target. They had 2 shots saved. We had 3 shots saved. We had more corners than they did. Of course, one of them coming from a goal coming from a corner as well. 16 free kicks for Coventry, 12 for Rovers, 16 fouls for Rovers, 13 for Coventry, and of course 3 offsides for them, just the 1 for Rovers as well. Let's take a look at the stats in a bit more detail then, shall we? Of course, this is the bigger picture. We were better in the air, of course we were. They were better. We're better on the ground as well. More tackles won on the ground for us. 67% of the duels are won by Rovers. 59 for Coventry. We had more dribbles than they did, more crosses as well. We did hit the woodwork once. I don't know what they're talking about here. We did hit the woodwork once. Diaz hit the woodwork, so I don't know what smoke they're piping, or the pipe they're smoking. But of course, let's break it down then. So take a look at the first half stats. Here they are. Of course, as you see, we had more possession, but they of course were more clinical in the end. 49% possession for them, 51% for us. They had 6 shots for we, I believe. To be honest with you, I don't see it myself. 3 corners to their 0. Is that right? You know what? I'm starting to think this is no. I think that is right. It is right. Of course, they did hit the woodwork. Of course, we did not in the first half. Shots inside the box for us. Rovers 3 as well. Again, the stats are all there for your leisure. Second half, where it was all Rovers, possession wise. Anyway, they started. Possession was for Coventry, but attacks was definitely for Rovers. Definitely the better side. I want to double check this because I'm starting to question my sanity here, as if this is legitimate. So if I were to bring this up, we are looking now. Look at the second half stats. Just want to make sure I'm looking at the right. I'm looking at the right bloody thing. I'm bloody looking at the right thing. It just doesn't feel that way. It feels like Rovers dominated second half much more so than Coventry, but it's not painted that well in these stats. Anyway, let's take a look at, of course, what have we got going on here? These are the starting lineups. Of course, now we've got Simon Moore between sticks for Coventry, Jake Bidwell, Dominic Hyam, Michael Rose as well. Matson on the left-hand side, Dabo on the right, Jamie Allen, Gustavo Hamer as well. Callum O'Hare, Matt Godden, and of course Victor Guilloques with the late thunder punch as well. So Pickering did put the ball in the back of the net, and of course Guilloques wrapped it up, a treat for Coventry, of course, to give themselves a share of the spoils. Of course, goals coming from Rovers, Daccarino and Scotty Wharton. Of course, to tell you what though, Coventry have got themselves a nice little team here. They've got a nice little team, and hopefully they're going to keep a hold of a lot of these talent as well, because Guilloques got goals in them. I think Gustavo Hamer did sign a new deal. At the back they got Dominic Hyam, of course, did decent little players. Simon Moore as well, solid keeper. And then let's not talk about let's not overshadow Callum O'Hare, very good player as well. So yeah, key ingredients for the future for Coventry City. Of course, they've got a Rovers lineup. Then we've got Kaminsky between sticks, Pickering on the left hand side, Costello at the right, who is absolutely dog shite at the moment. No disrespect to Costello, I like him a lot. But I don't think a right back is his spot. Again, we need to find his spot. And again, maybe a change of manager, change of personnel, change of focus, change of just a look at what's going on at Ewood Park might find the right spot for Ranking. So there's a player in there. I just don't think it's right back. And today he looked well out of place. Well out of place. And what on earth were we doing further forward? Called Rothwell, Buckley and Travis, as Gallagher and Giles as well. Giles on the right-hand side. Mowbray, you've done it 2 or 3 times now and it's never worked. Never bloody worked. When you put him on the left-hand side for Derby, guess what? He crossed, he provided an assist, and he got in the ball in the back of the net. Today, I just don't see it. I don't know what you're doing. I really don't know what you're doing. And I don't know why it takes you so long to make the changes that, of course, change the game as well. Were you just biding your time? Were you hoping that this thing would work? But we've seen it. We are not in a position to gamble like this. We need to be playing a team that can get the results. Of course, the first half was an absolute horror show. It was like the Chuckle Brothers, or it was like the Three Stooges, or 11 Stooges. It looked like. No, there was no in sync. There was nothing. There was no drive, no energy, and we'd barely even started the game. Ranky Costello looked like he'd wanted to go home and eat some Monster Munch or something like that. He just didn't feel it. The same could be said for that midfield thing. I remember one occasion in the first half, Van Heck was the furthest guy forward. What's that all about? Why is there no energy? Why does it take Bradley Daccarino and of course Diaz coming on in the second half to invigor, to create something, to create a bit of passion in this team? There's something wrong here. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're trying to do, but whatever it is, stop doing it. Stop mucking about. Get your shit in order. You've got 6 games to save our season. There are winnable games in here, and you've got some derby games as well, which we need to right the wrongs. Blackpool done us over at Bloomfield Row. We need to fix that next time around at Ewood Park. We've got Preston as well, of course, and we wanted to win that game as well. It's going to be massive. Those are 2 games that you cannot afford to lose, and to be honest with you, you cannot afford to be dropping points. Let's not talk about the other games. Of course, we've got Bournemouth waiting in the wings, Birmingham as well, and there's someone else in the middle of all that. I can't really remember who the other team is. But anyway, 6 games to save our season. Give us a fighting hope that, of course, come last day, that we are in the hope for playoffs as well. Let's take a look at the shot grid then, shall we? Yep, that's the big fat OG. Of course, Rovers represented by the blue. Of course, Coventry by the orange. Rovers, a lot of long shots here. A lot of shots in the box. I need to... this graphic looks a little bit weird. I can't see who had the most shots for Rovers or Coventry. Is there a way that I've messed this up? Probably. The way things are going these days, I probably have messed this up. Let's have a quick look here. No, I ain't got it. Yep, nope. No idea who got the shots. But anyway, of course, as you can see the stats there, 396 passes for Coventry, 356 for Rovers, 602 tackles, or touches, sorry, for Coventry, and 580 for Rovers. But there's the shot grid there. Let's take a look at the heat maps. Of course, Coventry covering a lot of grass here, Rovers preferring the right-hand side to the left. Of course, a lot of areas which were not really optimised or taken full advantage of for the Rovers in this game. What else do we got going on here? Yeah, let's take a little look at what the gaffer had to say shortly after the final whistle. Tony Mowbray, what's your thoughts and opinion about the game? Can you save our season? Here he comes with his thoughts and opinions from, of course, post-match. Here he comes.
Well, we take the point. It's obviously, I'm bemused by the time that was added on. 10 minutes, 24 seconds, my analyst said. 6 went up. How on earth they got 6, I'll never know. But accept it, but to get to over 10 minutes of play is, listen, it's sad. I think I've just said over there, it's sad that the officials don't have to come out and answer the questions that you ask me.
Painful end to the game, but it was a brilliant start to the second half after going behind. Bradley Dack, his first goal in over a year. What an impact he made after coming on.
Bradley Dack's a great player. You know, in my opinion, before he got his first injury, he was the best player in the Championship by a long way. And I'm pretty sure if he hadn't picked them injuries, he'd have been playing in the Premier League now. It's sad for Bradley, but he's on a journey back. He's still not fit. We are giving him bits and pieces of games. I asked him before half-time if he thought he could do 45, and he said he would. So, yeah. Thought Brereton was unbelievable when he came on. His ability to run with the ball and create chances and open up their defence and put them on the back foot. And it's no secret, you put your best players on the pitch, you can look like a football team who can score. And we hadn't scored in 7 away games, I think, on the bounce until Dack and Brereton get back on the pitch, and we scored 2 today. Should have scored more. Dack's disappointed he didn't get a hat-trick, to be honest. Sliding balls that were coming across the 6-yard line that he missed by a millimetre.
How important is it that you got that monkey off your back, the away goals? It had been 10.5 hours before today without a goal on the road.
Yeah, listen, I've just told you why, in my opinion. We've been missing our talismanic goal scorer. We've been missing our best player for a long spell at this football club. And so now that we're back on the pitch and we scored goals, it shouldn't surprise anybody. It doesn't surprise me.
6 games left inside the playoff places. It's still all to play for.
For lots of teams, you know, I haven't seen the results today. I don't look at them because I just know that we have to win some football matches, regardless of what anybody else does. They don't interest me. Just the teams we play, and the victories, even the defeats, don't mean anything to us. We just have to win 3 or 4 games, and I'm pretty sure we will. If we can keep the strikers available and fit, we can score goals, and we know we can defend well. So. I think they were let down by the officials today in the time and the timekeeping, which is sad. And yet, I don't ever want to really just blame the officials. It's about us. We have to keep the ball out the net. You know, we had 8 men in the box there. It needed to defend it better. But it just bemuses me why we don't get an answer. Why we played over 10.5 minutes.
Lots of injuries to deal with. No fixture in midweek. Is that useful going into the game against Blackpool? And do you think you might have some extra bodies back for that game? Maybe.
I don't know. We've got some attacking players still unavailable, but you know, Marakandi's not available. It's Defouk might be not too far away. Theo Eden was with the squad today, didn't make the 18, but there's a few coming back, and the options are looking a bit stronger, and hopefully that'll help us as we go into the last half a dozen games.
Meanwhile, what's been said on social media? Well, actually, I didn't really dig deep too much into this, but Lee Ryan said, "Can I just say that the 6 minutes minimum? These are the games we should be winning. If we are serious, but that's another game we have wasted. We must have dropped at least 10-15 points when winning." Meanwhile, Gareth Batsby said, "Worst thing is we're still in the top 6, so the pressure is still on and the more bottling is to come, because we all know if we were 9th, nothing to play for, we'd be playing like Manchester City." Meanwhile, Galarossi Blue said, "Lol, we simply do not deserve a playoff place. Simply disappointing season given the promise we showed. Absolutely no excuse for conceding this late in a fucking game." Meanwhile, Mike Beattie said, "Never seen a team fold like this other than last season and the season before that." Mark Newton said, "How many times have we lost points right at the end of games this year? For bloody sakes." Jay Entz said 4 wins sneaks us into the playoffs, I think. And the Steve Ward of one of the Blackburn Rovers mafioso said, "Very, very deflated after the last minute goal. We got what we deserved from the first half performance, though." So a bit of positivity there from Stevie Ward. Yeah, you know what? He is a little bit right. Well, he is right. I was very, very gutted with, of course, the collapse. We were so close to getting 3 points, and of course that would have pushed us probably to 4th in the table and given us a bit of juice. But a point at the end of the day against Coventry, who are still outsiders for top 6. I would say maybe it's getting a little bit more hard for them to get into it. And again, when you look at the results coming at you right here, right now, it did end up okay for us to remain in top 6. And again, when you look forward to the next few games, especially the midweek games, there is still hope that we could still be in top 6 coming at you next Saturday. So these were the results, of course, for the weekend so far. Hull City did lose to Huddersfield Town. That was a Friday. Of course, big win for Huddersfield, remain in top. They're in 3rd right now. Of course, Blackpool did get spanked by Forest. Big 4-1 win there. Bournemouth 3-2 winners over Bristol City, of course, breaking away from the chasing pack in 2nd. Coventry 2, Rovers 2, of course. Derby 1-0 winners over Preston. Barnsley 1-1 a draw against Reading down the foot of the table. QPR, of course, looking like they're bottling it just as much as we are. 2-0 loss to Fulham. Stoke picking up a 1-0 win over Sheffield United. We needed that. We'd Stoke as the other team, actually, that we need to play as well. Luton Town 2, Millwall 2, of course, Denton. Millwall's hopes, and of course, Denton. Luton's hopes are pretty much as we were. The gap between Luton and Rovers is, of course, the same. And Swansea 4-0 winners over Cardiff in Cardiff. And Middlesbrough big win over, of course, Peterborough 4-0 in the end. Still to play, though, Birmingham against West Brom. That's tomorrow. Of course, let's take a look at the table. So we are 6th at the moment. Forest are 7th, of course. They are now just 1 point adrift to us. 3 games in hand, so likely they will overtake us and push us into 7th. What gives me hope, though, and the hope is what kills you, is Luton Town and hopefully Huddersfield Town. Huddersfield have played the same amount of games as us. I've got 4 points clear than us at the moment, but they do have a very, very stiff few games up ahead. Luton Town, can they actually hold on? Of course, we'll have to see about that. So realistically, and of course, the gap between ourselves and Sheffield United is also just 1 point. But again, they've got a lot of these teams are playing up against each other still to the bitter end. So there is still hope. Of course, our resume is much better than the others because we will have to take on Bournemouth at some stage at Ewood Park as well. So hopefully we can turn that around and save our season. Coventry down to 11th. They are now 6 points adrift of 6th. And again, this is what's given me some hope. So Sheffield United will take on QPR, of course. A difficult game, could go either way, might end up being a point. And if it was a point, that'll probably put Sheffield United on, of course, 62 points. But of course, if Sheffield United win, that's us out of the playoffs. That's right. Millwall against Swansea, don't know that game, could go either way, probably could go in favour of Swansea as well. Peterborough against Luton Town. Peterborough are fighting, but of course they were shit today against Middlesbrough. But of course, Luton Town on the road, you just don't know. Reading against Stoke, don't really care about that, to be honest with you. Preston against Blackpool, bit of a derby there. Forest against Coventry. Coventry were okay today, but on the road they could probably not that good, and Forest could break away from the chasing back. Middlesbrough against Fulham, I think I'm hoping Fulham get a result there, and of course West Brom against Bournemouth as well. So again, we're looking at maybe Fulham taking points of Middlesbrough. We're hoping that of course QPR may take some points of Sheffield United. Again, we may still be in contention to be 6th coming at you next weekend. If not the case, maybe after next weekend, of course. This is what's going to come, of course, next weekend. Sheffield United against Bournemouth. Again, points are going to be taken off of each other on that one. Preston against QPR. It's difficult for QPR to get results on the road. I think that's going to be a difficult one. Barnsley are fighting for their lives, but of course Millwall could get back into the thick of things with the win against them. Swansea against Derby, don't really care. Forest against Birmingham, should imagine a Forest win on that one. West Brom against Stoke, don't really care about that. Middlesbrough should beat Hull City. And of course Reading against Cardiff, not too bothered. Bristol City against Peterborough, not too bothered. Fulham Coventry, yep, not into it. Huddersfield against Luton Town, points off of each other again on that one. So again, you've got to look at these small glimmers of hope. That's all I've got left in the tank for Mowbray. I fired him again. At the half-time whistle. I was done with it, pissed off about it, and I'm still pissed off, even though we are 6th. But again, for me, that's just I want Farker. I want fucking Farker. Get Farker in here, and he can get him in now, and he can save the season. Come on then, buddy. Come on then. Right here. Of course. Yes, get Farker in. He can save our season and maybe make a push. But of course, I don't think so. Realistically, give him up at the end of the season. Don't get top 6. See you later. Get 6. Then, of course, we'll have a little sit down and a chat and see what you want. But until then, guys, that is it. Smash your thumbs up. Smash your subscribe. Check the links down below on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, also Patreon. But until then, boys, we're done right now.